laboratory practices, and now we are entering to the last phase of this course, which is the presentation from the participants. And we are late about 10 minutes more or less, so it's better to start this presentation. And this presentation will be led by the moderator, Ms. Mirna, and I hope all of you are ready now. And the first group for this presentation is Mr. Saiful. Are you ready, Mr. Saiful?
Yes, Pak Nahar.
Okay, Mr. Saiful ready, so Mbak Mirna ready. So we can start this discussion, and I hope all of you always pay attention with the time, because the time is very tight, very limited. So more or less 15 minutes. If you can do presentation like 5 minutes, it will be good, but maximum 10 minutes. So we will have like 5 minutes or until 10 minutes for the discussion. Okay, so next I will give this time and the platform to Ms. Mirna. So Ms. Mirna, you can start this session.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and good afternoon. We will begin the session today, and I think I will just pass the opportunity to give floor to the first presentation. Go ahead. I will keep the time 15 minutes. Thank you.
Can I share my screen?
Yes.
Right. Thank you, Ibu Mirna dan Pak Nahar. Good morning, everyone, and early morning for those who are in the European time zone and South Africa. I am Saiful from Bali Cultural Heritage Preservation Office. I will represent my team to present our topic related to traditional knowledge exploration and development for conservation. And my team is Pak Dion, Eko Prihandono, dan Mbak Sheila Ayu. Before I begin my presentation, I would like to express my greatest appreciation to Borobudur Conservation Office, Mas Nahar, and the whole team who have done a great work by holding this online training and disseminating their research and developments. Right. To begin with, I think it is important for us to know what the Borobudur Conservation Office has done so far in terms of exploration. From the publications, it can be seen that the BCO has explored the traditional knowledge in Java, Bali, and Sumatra. The approaches include ethnographic analogies and literary studies of ancient texts. And the question is then, where to next? Kalimantan with their Dayak culture, Sulawesi with Bugis, and Eastern Indonesia in Moluccas and Papua are worth exploring. But to do this efficiently, the BCO can collaborate with local universities in their Department of Anthropology or Cultural Studies, and also can rely on the Ministry of Education and Culture's regional offices such as PNB and BPCB to explore, document, and record the traditional knowledge that potentially can be used for conservation. In the exploration, it is essential to use various approaches to understand how certain materials, structure, building were made along with its associated traditions or cultural context. And this can be relative to time because, as we all know, that tradition is also dynamic. And also whether we are aiming for preserving the intangibility or tangibility of certain culture. Padion puts example of traditional houses of the Sasak tribe in central Lombok. So they arrange the buildings according to their respective functions. And interestingly, as Pak Nahar has previously mentioned last week, earlier, that certain culture doesn't make sense. The locals use cow dung to harden the floor without causing any cracks when it dries. Perhaps it is important for us to investigate the diet of the cows to be able to know what kind of organic materials can provide strength and flexibility to clay material. And what's more, in relation to the intangible and tangible culture, we can learn from the Memayu ceremony at Ki Buyut Tersmit Tum, Cirebon district, to welcome wet season. It has parade that includes traditional dances, music, art performances, ceremonial foods, and Ki Buyut's heirlooms. Also, interestingly, during this annual tradition, people change the traditional house's roofing, or they call it walit. This tradition proves that intangible culture plays important role in preserving culture. Also, they change the syrup or roofing for tum every 4 years. Local carpenter use local teak trees. The community plants the teak in their land for the sake of this ceremony. In heritage conservation, we are used to the idea to prolong the original materials as long as possible. In this case, the local community change the material periodically, not only for the sake of architectural integrity, but also the cultural continuity. Thus, we always have to check the cultural context, particularly when we are dealing with the traditional communities. As a reflection, to advance the Borobudur Conservation Office, I guess it is important uh, that the BCO to start to act as a traditional conservation knowledge hub, at least in Asia Pacific level, and start a data or knowledge bank similar to the American Institute for Conservation's Conservation Wiki. And align with Ibu Sri Wahyuni's presentation yesterday, the natural products for conservation materials can be developed in a wide range of formats, such as gel, liquid, solid, whichever more efficient and effective. And perhaps if the plan of turning the BCO into Badan Layanan Umum or Public Service Agency is still ongoing, the BCO can start to commercialize these materials and selling it to the museums regionally and globally. However, it is important for the BCO to collaborate with influential, globally known conservation institutes such as the Getty Conservation Institute for further investigation, publication, and so on. Lastly, it is inevitable that more ideas can be generated when we educate our human resources through formal education or formal school. And this can be reached through collaboration with local universities, such as ISI Surakarta for Art Museum or Museum Objects Conservation, and UGM, Gajah Mada University, for Archaeological and Cultural Heritage Conservation. As there are in close proximity with the BCO. One of the reasons why we have to do this as soon as possible is because there is a misleading conception in Indonesia, correct me if I'm wrong, that by studying archaeology or museology means someone eligible to do conservation. These two are a completely different thing, even though some notions in conservation are inspired by the ethics in archaeology and museum. I think that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mas Saiful. We can proceed with the second presentation on the use of natural product on heritage conservation with Mr. Haidar Saleh.
Ms. Mirna, I think
Yes.
Yes, we can open discussion for this.
The forum. Okay.
First, yes.
Okay.
Yes. We still
Discussion
have. Okay.
first? Yeah.
Discussion first, then. The floor is open for any question regarding the first presentation on traditional knowledge exploration and development by the Borobudur Conservation Office that was just presented. Please go ahead if you have any question. Is there any question? If there are no questions yet, maybe, or if you remember later on, you can write it down and then ask the question to Mr. Saiful and team.
I think Indonesian participants can ask question in Indonesian if they want.
Silakan.
Yes, I mean it's very open if you want to ask in Bahasa because Ms. Mirna will translate into English.
Yeah, may I ask question? Haider.
Go ahead, Mr. Haider.
Yeah, yeah. About this community in Cirebon, do they have also like the elders group as usually in some kabuyutan in Sunda called baris kolot or baris sepuh? Thank you.
Am I supposed to answer this directly?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, I think the one who is eligible to answer the question is Mbak Sheila, because she's doing her undergraduate thesis about that community in Cirebon.
Oh, okay then.
Mbak Sheila.
Oh, yes. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, bisa didengar, Pak. Silakan.
Oh, yeah. Yes, for the community in Kibuyut, there are elder, what is called, elder group or community that lead the ceremony for every year and throughout the year.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I think we still have time for another question, if there are any, for the first presentation.
Hello, also today, Sam. This is second day.
If there is no more question, maybe we could proceed with the second presentation, Mr. Nahar. The second presentation will be by Pak Haidar.
Yes, we can go to the
Okay.
second presentation for the second group.
Please,
Okay.
Pak Haidar, the floor and time is yours.
Okay. I would like to share my screen. Yeah. Okay. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Haidar from this second group for the topic of natural products for heritage conservation. We have 6 members, so I will try to go faster. Basically, our presentation divided into 3 categories: new material study, conservation practice, and ecosystem practice. For the first one, the new material studies, I would like to invite my colleague, Mas Imam, to give the narration for this one. I will assist you with the presentation. Mas Imam, silakan. Bahasa Indonesia aja, nggak apa-apa.
I can also translate for Mas Imam.
Ya,
Please go
silakan
ahead,
Mas Imam. Mas Imam.
I read from the chat. Imam has a problem with the sound system from his gadget, so I think you can skip Pak Haidar.
Okay, we will back to Mas Imam later, but I would like to take a short time to explain that his research was done actually in the Borobudur Conservation Laboratory. So he tried to extract papaya leaves to get some silver nanoparticle, which can be used to eliminate lichen in the stone artifact, especially for the cultural heritage. So later he will explain about the process. Next subject is regarding Sangiran Conservation Office. Sangiran is the early man site in Central Java. I would like to invite Mbak Nurul. Mbak Nurul, silakan Mbak, bisa menjelaskan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kaider and team. Allow me to sharing my experience in the natural product. Okay, next slide maybe, Pak Chaidar, please.
Yeah.
Yes, the research of natural product in Sangiran element site is occurred in 2016 and 2017. This one is the product is Condorucum. Condorucum is the pine resin. It is the side product of refining pine tree. Condorucum we can get in is in traditional market. The shape of Condorucum is a chunk, and the color is the brown, maybe a golden brown. And in traditional market, we can get it at a cheap price, under the 50,000 rupiah. And the second is animal glue or ancol. Animal glue or ancol, we can say in Indonesia in lem kaaga. It is the protein that obtained from collagen tissues of the skin or bone, maybe the shape like a granules, and the color is the brown. And like the condorucum, we can get ancol in traditional market and at the price, at the cheaper price, I mean. Okay, next slide, Mr. Sider.
Yes.
And the next is amber. Amber is maybe consists of two. The white one is the damar mata kucing. We can also call in English maybe damar cat eyes. Damar cat eyes. The shape is a granule and the color is yellow. According the literature, we can get it from direct tapping from the tree. And the next is damar batu. We can call in English amberstone. The color is the brown and the shape is like a tongue. According to the literature, we can it shape from that leaf from itself from the tree, and we can get it in traditional market too, and the cheap price. Okay, basically all of natural resin can use for the fossil, but according to our research that we do some tests to know the characteristic of this material like acidity test, maybe chemical bond analysis with the infrared spectroscopy, or maybe microstructure analysis with the scanning electron microscope, and the mechanical strength material with the tensile strength. We choose one material that has a characteristic looks like epoxy resin. Epoxy resin that we usually use in Sangiran Conservation Office. And the selected material is ancol. And this one is example application ancol in our community of fossil in Indonesia. This one in 2016, we can application ancol in maybe more of some hewan artiodactyl. And the next on the right side, maybe Pak Chaidar, please. This quite one is the application ancol from the molar of Elephantidae, of maybe the molar of Stegodon in Museum Mini Buton Bumiayu Brebes on Central Java in 2018. And the next. And in this one is application ancol in Rumah Informasi Kawasan Prasejarah Caleo, Sopeng, Sulawesi Selatan, North Sulawesi in 2018. And the other one is the application ancol from tulang paha kiri as like maybe caput femoris in Latin, place caput femoris of maybe bovit. Yes, the bovit in the Museum Patiayam, Kudus, Central Java in 2018. And then the white one is an example from application ancol in tulang belikat is maybe scapula of bovit in the Museum Patiayam, Kudus, Central Java, 2018. And then the last is the example application ancol from rahang bawah and gigi taring is, I mean that the mandible and the canines of the Hexapodrodon in the Museum Anjuk Ladang, Anjuk East Java 2002. Okay, thank you Pak Chaidar.
Terima kasih, thank you Mbak Nurul. And the next subject, the next two subjects related with the stone and bricks about biocide. I will have to explain this myself in the megalithic site of Lorelindu in Sulawesi. Pak Andi from the Conservation Office of Gorontalo Cultural Heritage in his team using the citronella and mahogany seed essential oil for the biocide. He will explain in the Q&A session about the process. The process itself actually most likely has already learned and explained by the Borobudur Conservation Office within the last 5 weeks. It's related with the spraying and covering with plastics. But the object itself always in megalithic is always bigger than just simple stone. Here in the Muaro Jambi site, Ma Sian Yan from the Conservation Office of Jambi Cultural Heritage using the cinnamon oil to inhibit the moss growth in the brick of the Mahavihara temple in Muaro Jambi. He will also explain in the Q&A session if needed. And I would like to close our presentation with the ecosystem practice. What I mean by ecosystem practice is that actually, as my background is architecture, in architecture, we always need the material to be conserved prior to construction, for the construction. So I will explain one of my friend doing some bamboo preservatives cooperation with a community in kecamatan or the municipalities like county in US of Selawi in Garut, West Java. So people there would provide the material in their farming activities for the architectural products. But then my friend, Mr. Pon Purajatmika, in return will giving more knowledge how to use or utilize the agricultural product, not only bamboo, but also the preservatives. For example, he used the gadung yam, neem, and eggplant in bamboo preservation, and it involved the academic community, business like small medium enterprise of the Selawi society, of course the people, the farmer of Selawi, and it is supported also by the municipalities government by the regulation. The same method used by our friend Gede Kresna in Bali, in Singaraja. He planted, cultivated with the community there, the soapberry and neem plants. And actually at the back there is the neem plant itself. And this cultivation involved about 13 villages in Kubu Tambahan, Bali. Also in return, he gave the community more knowledge on how to use design approach for their community's products. So this is our close caption, close statement that what we do here is actually related with the sustainability itself, and it will give the community a circular economic prospects. Thank you. I'll return the platform to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Haidar. It's an interesting presentation. Perhaps you can, the screen could be returned to the shared screen, Pak Haidar.
Oh ya, sebentar.
Yeah, thank you very much. We will, if you have any question now for the second presentation, please go ahead. Are there any questions for the second presentation on natural product for heritage conservation? Anyone? If there's no question, perhaps we could go ahead with the third group presentation on wood conservation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. I'm represent for the group, the third group for the wood conservation. We are 6 person in the group. Most of all is from the Chamber of Cultural Heritage Preservation. We have from Sumatra Island, Jambi, and West Sumatra. From Sulawesi, Gorontalo, and also from Java we have from Chamber of Cultural Heritage Preservation Banten, and also Department Chemistry UGM Yogyakarta, Pak Iqmal, for our chef, and also me from Museum Afandi. So I will share our presentation. I will share. Or can maybe the moderator share our presentation, maybe? Please.
From host, maybe Mas Linus, you can
Yeah.
help
Linus.
to open, because the participant already sent the material through the group of participants, Pak Mas Linus. Are you there, Mas Linus?
So while waiting for the presentation, the slide, I will just make a small opening. So in our culture, wood utilization is we use for the buildings, furniture, art, media, and craft, and also for ship and coffin, and all that now is an artifact, and the wood damage from those artifacts, the factor is usually is the internal factor is the material age, because it's more than 50 years old, and the natural material is the organic chemical compound of the wood itself. And the external factor is environmental condition, which is humidity, temperature, and also the microorganism like fungi, lichen, and insect and termite. And all that can degrade the wood itself. And as we already did the preservation from the pre-utilization step, we do usually people from the local wisdom, we do the selection and the age of the tree itself for the wood, and then do actually we do I have this sorry, I have to see. Okay, so from the local wisdom itself, we have the tree. When the tree is surrounding by the vines, it can be a bad luck. The local wisdom said it can be the owner of or the resident of the house. There will be a house someday. It will surrounding by a debt. But actually, is when the vines or the term is actually lioness, it will decline the quality of the wood when we found that in the tree. So because the liana will take the food from the bark and the tree, so the nutrients of the tree will become not full. So it cannot be obtain the good quality of the wood for making a house or rumah gadang. Then the tree should not be in blossom or in flower state, because the starch content in the tree is high in susceptible to insect attack. And the tree, when it's too young, with availability of plenty of water, and the process, the photosynthesis is underway, so it's not good enough. So before the tree is felled, they will struck the tree 3 times with a wooden hammer, and because we have the resonance, and we have to wait for a few moments. And when it's the tree is fell, the young leaf is fell from the tree, the wisdom local said is maybe the young people who live in the house will die young, but actually the tapping wood, the wood tapping, and when the young leaf is fall, actually is the leaf attached to the twigs have a different adhesiveness level, and the top of the leaf is the stickiest, is higher than the base. So the nutrient deficiency start from aborting the leaf, so that the young leaf or falling tree shoots show that the decline in wood's quality. Also when the animals is fell from the tree, when we tap and we have animals like scorpions or maybe snakes, it's indicate that there's a hollow in the tree, and the animals fall is indicate the cavity of the tree. So the tree is not good enough for the building material. So we have this traditional and also scientific proof already. So after that, after picking the right tree and the tree is cut and fell, we do the water soaking in river basin for 1 year. And then after that, do the smoking and thermal processing using the oven, chemical treatment after that, and surface protecting of the wood. So all that base, maybe all people in Indonesia already know about that. So yes, next, yes. So this is the slide, and our presentation is actually based on our experience. And we have Wadah Kubur Yumu, which is a burial crate from Poso in Sulawesi Island, and Rumah Gadang in Minangkabau, and Lamban Pesagi in West Lampung in Sumatra, West Sumatra. So in this experience, we found termite, lichen, and moss, and we do the mechanical cleaning, which is from dust and soil, and we use the clove, dry tobacco, and banana froth, and also gambir. Gambir is uncaria, which is in Indonesia we use a lot of gambir, and it contains also 50% of tannin. So we cover all over the play after the cleaning process. We cover the method is to cover with the injection of using wood chemicals for all the base. Actually, we have, because we have two termites, termites from the ground and also termites inside the wood. So we do the injection termite agent is for all over the place, all over the area actually, with anti-termite, water, and kerosene. And also for the wood itself, for the coffin itself, we do the spraying with the sari cengkeh. It's a clove extract. So next please. And this is the preparation for do the conservation for the yumu, the coffin. And they make the cement and plastic construction under the coffin, and then make a observation. And then next please. Yes, and as you can see, the yumu is already clean and the dirt is already gone. The color, the wooden color is already returned, and the texture is hardened again. The termites is already gone also, and also the area is, we don't see any trace of the termite passage, and the all already are well organized. But the problems is we can still smell the chemical agent. Next Next, we have Rumah Gadang in Minangkabau. So this Rumah Gadang, we can see the degradation of the wood from the house. All of the wood is damaged by the termites, and from this we do the cleaning for the with the traditional method with the fluid tobacco and also cloves extract. We use a brush and a sponge to cover all over the wood. As you can see, on the next slide. Yes, this is the house, and the next slide you can see on the left side is already been covered by the fluid tobacco and the cloves extract, and the right we didn't do anything yet. So this is also still Rumah Gadang, the how we built the Rumah Gadang itself. So next slide. Yes. So actually, the house of traditional houses in Indonesia used also already some as the local wisdom to gather the tree, together the wood itself is already with the traditional knowledge about the what is inside the tree itself, as how to get the wood in good quality, the better quality, and also for the construction. Usually in traditional house, they don't put the wood under the soil, so it always have the base on the flat stone or a stone that will cover as the what I can how I can say that like apa ya, before the soil, and then there's a rock, and then also all stone, and then there's a wood. So it's also already in good knowledge about the how to build itself, how to build a good conservation method. So we have also, after that, we have Pesagi House in West Lampung, in Kenali village. The house itself is already about 350 years old. And it's the house is supported by large wooden beams. And as you can see in the next slide, the wood damage, the moss, lichen, and dirt. And we also do the same. Most of the wood conservation we do with the cloves extract and also tobacco. So the process of wood conservation can be selected by using natural material as wood preservation agent. The material should not change the physical properties of the wood. So the local experience on wood conservation applied in Indonesia could be developed more advanced by formulation of preservation non-natural product agent. And as we know, several types of natural product we know is essential oil, tobacco, clove oil, and liquid smoke. Liquid smoke, as the Balai Conservation of Borobudur already did also, we can see the video. And the application of natural material is carried out by considering the penetration into the wood and coating to protect the wood surface. So yes, that's all from our group. I think thank you for your attention. It's our group. So if you have any question, there's still time to have question. I give back to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But if any other participant would like to ask questions on this presentation, it's very interesting. There's a scientific reason behind the local wisdom in wood selection for material building. So, any questions? Please.
Yeah, may I have a question,
Go ahead.
Pak Ari? The interesting presentation. Thank you, Mbak Kartina, and also for the others. I have a question that we know the wood and bamboo are vulnerable for termite and water problem in Indonesia due to the weathering and rain season. And as we know that mostly the sacred houses of the traditional local people already use the hardwood like thick wood or ulin or something else. But I know it's now it's in endangered species. I mean, it's endangered wood, and it's forbidden for reuse again. And how to we change the new wood, but it's same with the with with the same hardness as a thick wood or ulin wood. Is there any some reason for change the hardwoods, because that is very hard to see, very hard to find. Look, for the local people also because they build the sacred houses like rumah gadang or something else with the practice of the ceremony, but now it's already degraded. And how we change the same wood as is also hard and it's resistant with the termite and water. Gimana cara mengganti gitu, karena sekarang kan sudah berbeda ya, sudah susah mencari kayu jati atau kayu ulin atau segala macam gitu, karena kan untuk upacara pendirian rumah itu tertentu gitu. Nah itu bagaimana, mungkin teman-teman dari BPCB ya yang punya pengalaman gitu.
Ya, mungkin bisa, mungkin saya
Terima kasih, itu saja sih.
Terima kasih, Pak Ari. Yes, maybe because I'm not experienced with the wood construction, maybe I can ask in my group, maybe Mbak Ambar can Mbak Ambar, are you there?
Ya, well, memang untuk masalah penggantian kayu ini sepertinya masalah untuk seluruh BPCB yang ada di Indonesia ini ya, Pak ya. Jadi saya pernah dengar itu apa namanya, ada kayak mau lahan hutan gitu, apa namanya, penanaman kayu-kayu yang untuk menggantikan itu, tapi saya lupa ada di mana, mohon maaf karena keterbatasan pengetahuan saya, tapi memang ada memulai untuk di dalam saya ini masih PR panjang dari seluruh BPCB yang ada di Indonesia, begitu Pak, setahu saya Pak.
Saya terjemahkan dulu boleh Pak untuk peserta yang berbahasa Inggris. So to answer the question on the usage on traditional tree material for the wood for traditional structure, because these types of tree are getting scarce in Indonesia. The answer was it is indeed a problem to replace the wood that are naturally used for these traditional structures, because there are a lack of these trees to be found in all over Indonesia. So there is a limited information, but apparently there are efforts to replant these types of tree to ensure the preservation of traditional structures in Indonesia. Thank you. Are there any more questions for this group presentation on wood conservation? If not, maybe we could continue to the presentation of group 4 on metal conservation.
Okay.
Group 4.
Yeah. Good morning,
the floor
everyone.
is for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to share a little bit about the use of natural materials for metal heritage object conservation. But first, let me introduce our group member. So there are Mr. Audio from Conservation Center of Banten, Miss Ari from National Museum of Indonesia, Miss Mentari from Conservation Center of West Sumatra, and me from Bank Indonesia Museum. So today's presentation will be delivered by Mr. Audio. Please, the floor is yours.
Okay, good morning everyone. Mungkin saya akan menggunakan bahasa Indonesia supaya lebih jelas dan lebih lancar dalam mempresentasikan tentang konservasi metal, supaya tidak ada kesalahpahaman dalam mengartikan dalam bahasanya, masalah yang akan timbul ketika saya menggunakan bahasa Inggris nantinya. Oke.
Baik, Pak Audio. Nanti untuk teknisnya satu kalimat dalam bahasa Indonesia, kemudian satu kalimat akan diterjemahkan dalam bahasa Inggris ya, Pak. Terima kasih.
Oke, siap. Oke, next slide. Next. Seperti yang sudah dijelaskan oleh Bu Ari tentang beberapa teknik konservasi logam menggunakan bahan-bahan alami, tentunya pada kesempatan ini saya akan mencoba menjelaskan dengan bahan-bahan di luar dari bahan yang telah disebutkan oleh Bu Ari.
Okay, as we saw with the lab practice by Miss Ari on Friday, that she explained several materials usually used to conserve metal artifacts, but today the presentation will show other materials that are used in metal conservation.
Okay, next slide. Next. 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 Nah, ketika di dalam laboratorium kita tidak seberapa mengenal bahan terbuat dari bahan apa artefak yang akan kita konservasi, maka kita dapat memanfaatkan warna yang nampak pada permukaan logam terkorosi tersebut.
When in laboratory we cannot identify the material of the artifact that we are conserving, we could use visual identification to see by the color on the artifacts, or the corrosion color on the artifact.
Seperti yang nampak pada gambar, yaitu pada besi korosi umumnya berwarna coklat kehitaman, kemudian pada koper itu berwarna kehijauan, dan pada silver akan berwarna kehitam-hitaman.
As you can see here in the image on your screen, that corroded iron are usually colored brownish, orange, reddish brown. and chloride coverage are usually greenish, while in silver it's usually a blackish color on the surface.
Okay, next slide. Pada penghilangan atau proses pembersihan karat pada benda-benda umum, benda-benda logam di sekitar kita, cukup menggunakan bahan-bahan yang ada pada gambar, yaitu saya mulai dari sebelah kiri, ada campuran lemon and salt, kemudian vinegar, potato, baking soda, and scrubber.
These are the techniques usually used to remove rust in the day-to-day tools that we have around us, using salt and lemon and vinegar and potato and baking soda or mechanical remover.
But pada benda-benda cagar budaya, proses konservasi atau proses pembersihan karat itu tidak semudah pembersihan karat pada benda-benda umum. Tentu ada aturan-aturan tertentu.
Certainly, these methods cannot be applied on cleaning the heritage artifacts, metal heritage artifacts.
Nah, berikut merupakan contoh-contoh bahan-bahan alami yang sudah pernah dilakukan, terutama pada BPJP. Nah, biasanya pemilihan bahan itu berdasarkan di kondisi dari benda itu tersendiri, maka tidak bergantung, maksudnya pemilihan bahan tersebut tidak sekedar memilih, namun kita harus memperhatikan sejauh mana korosinya dan terbuat dari metal jenis apa artefaknya.
So for cultural heritage object conservation, using traditional based and natural products, the material are selected based on the artifact condition, like the stage of the corrosion that happened, or the original material of the artifact itself.
Material-material tersebut yang umumnya dipakai seperti yang telah disebutkan oleh Miss Ari kemarin, ada lime, jeruk nipis, kemudian ada belimbing wulu, ada mengkudu, dan juga ada nanas.
So the natural material used to clean these artifacts, as already presented by Miss Ari last Friday, and you can see here, lime, noni, fruit, bilimbi, and pineapple.
Next, pada umumnya bahan-bahan tersebut cara penggunaannya cukup sama. Jadi besi atau artefak tersebut dibersihkan secara mekanis terlebih dahulu, kemudian buahnya atau bahannya dihaluskan, kemudian baru artefaknya direndam selama beberapa jam ke dalam hasil penghalusan bahan.
Usually the artifacts are cleaned mechanically by brushing it or rubbing it, and then afterwards it is soaked in the liquid from the natural materials, like you can see here on the screen.
Next slide. Nah, setelah dilakukan perendaman, mungkin bisa melakukan pembersihan mekanis ulang supaya semua debu-debu yang masih menempel pada benda dapat terbersihkan secara sempurna.
Usually after the artifacts are soaked in, and then a second stage of the cleaning process begins, which is a mechanical cleaning using brush to ensure that there are no dirt or any other residue left on the surface of the artifact.
Nah, selain menggunakan bahan-bahan alami tersebut, ada alternatif lain yaitu penggunaan arus listrik yang kita sebut dengan electrolysis.
So another alternative way to clean it is by electrolysis.
Nah, untuk elektrolit yang digunakan sebagai penghantar arus pada proses elektrolisis, kami menggunakan larutan berbahan dasar baking soda sebesar 5% yang dilarutkan dengan aquades.
So for the electrolytes, they use the solution of 5% baking soda in aquades.
Nah, ada beberapa keuntungan dari proses elektrolisis, yaitu yang pertama, mudah untuk mengatur sejauh mana reduksi logam. Kemudian yang kedua, untuk benda kecil yang tidak mungkin dilakukan proses penggosokan atau pembersihan manual, mechanical cleaning. Kemudian yang ketiga, kita dapat mudah mengatur sejauh mengamankan detail-detail dari struktur pada logam. Misalkan pada koin, itu detail-detail tulisan pada koin bisa kita atur supaya tidak ikut tereduksi.
So the advantage of this electrolysis is it is easy to reduce metal reduction on the artifact, especially in small objects, because it is impossible to clean small objects thoroughly by using mechanical process, like by scrubbing it. There will be details that are missed if the objects are too small. And then thirdly, it is easier to control the metal reduction while cleaning the artifact, because especially like in coins, it could be controlled like to ensure that the details on the surface of the coin is not reduced in the process.
Oke, next slide. Nah, berikut proses elektrolisis yang sempat kami videokan.
And this is the video of the electrolysis process that they did in the laboratory.
Oh, ketika larutan elektrolit sudah mencapai titik jenuhnya, maka warna larutan akan berubah menjadi hitam kehijauan.
When it reaches certain point, the electrolytes liquid will change color into greenish black, dark like this.
Nah, pada gambar di depan, dimulai dari sebelah kiri atas, itu merupakan paku sebelum dielektrolisis. Berjalan ke kanan, itu merupakan hasil setelah elektrolisis. Kemudian pada gambar kiri bawah merupakan paku yang telah dielektrolisis, kemudian kita coating menggunakan organic oil, dan gambar di kanan bawah merupakan hasil limbah reduksi dari proses elektrolisis. Di situ nampak bahwa merupakan endapan dari cairan elektrolit dan besi tumbal.
This is to show you the stages. Like the first image on the upper left is a nail before the process of electrolysis, and upper right is after it went through an electrolysis process, and lower left is afterwards. The nail is coated with natural essential oil. And on the lower right, you could see the waste after the process of electrolysis, which is the remaining of the process of electrolysis.
Next. Cara penentuan logam tumbal pada proses elektrolisis yaitu menggunakan deret volta, di mana ada sebelah kiri dari deret volta. Contohnya, jika logam yang akan dikonservasi adalah Fe, maka kita harus memilih sebelah kiri dari Fe, yaitu bisa aluminium atau seng atau magnesium.
Sorry Mas, bisa diulang lagi, tadi putus-putus.
Untuk pemilihan logam tumbal pada proses elektrolisis, maka memanfaatkan yang dinamakan dengan deret volta seperti yang pada gambar. Memilih logam tumbal harus berada di sebelah kiri logam yang akan dikonservasi. Contohnya, jika logam yang dikonservasi merupakan Fe atau besi, maka logam tumbal harus dari aluminium, mangan, atau magnesium.
So the electrolysis process usually used another metal. For example, if this is a volta line, and commonly you see the left side of the material that you are going to conserve or clean using this electrolysis. For example, if you are going to treat an Fe material, you have to use aluminium or zinc, which are the elements on the left side of the material that you are going to clean using electrolysis.
Oke, karena keterbatasan waktu, mungkin sampai di sini penjelasannya. Dipersilakan jika terdapat pertanyaan dan masukan lainnya.
Thank you very much. Any participants, if you have any question for this presentation, please go ahead. If there are no questions, perhaps we could go ahead with the 5th group, conservation on colonial monument. Group 5.
Yeah, the presentation will be delivered to Mas Krishna. Already joined. Mas Krishna.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay, good morning everyone, and today me and my partners Ari Sulistyo will present about the conservation about brick in colonial buildings. So this short presentation is about my experience when assisting the church building managers in 2080 and the Heritage Conservation Office of Central Java or BPCP in 2019. In the case of brick walls, there are at least two important parts, namely brick and the mortar. Next. The brick case we choose in Blendok Church. It's located on the centrum of Semarang Old Town and have three character forming parts: an octagonal plan, a dome roof, and the two towers. In 1890, an earthquake occurred to the Juana fracture. It's about 96 kilometers from Semarang and impacted to the collapse of the roof and the dome and tower. And it was only repaired in 1894 to 1895. So the shape that we know today is the architectural form after the earthquake in the late of 19th century. Next. It's a short introduction about the difference between what happens in 1879 and 1895. So in the left side and the right side, there are purple and yellow parts. So the yellow part is the still authentic until now, and the purple part is a new form or a new shape of architectural. Then today we are focused on the wall in the north. I mean this part in code number R8. So when 2017 and 2018, we try to measure by knowing about moisture content in inside and the outside. So we know that we find that in the north wall there are highest moisture content. So next, this part is the north wall from the church. So this is in 2017 and 2018. The mortar it's collapse, and the painting is already decolorization. Then in 2019, when the PPCP tried to repair, and they peeling out, or peeling it means mengupas bagian luar, we can find that the bricks arrangement is the bonded with mortar and have to have I mean highest or average up than 14%. So we can find that the moisture content between 22 until 21, or some part is still low, but I think when we touch the bricks, it's feeling wet. This is another part when we are peeling out. Still some part is already repaired in 2003 or 2004, and then we try to collect about the old parts in mortar. I mean the painting that connect with mortars, and then on the left side, and I mean the bottom is the part when below that wall. I mean there is a raise water that raising them problem in the below wall, and we can it's about 60 centimeter or 70 centimeter below the pavement. And because it's repaired by PPCP, and this is the left side is before and the right side is the after. So we can find that they try to use the same mortar, and that means the red mortar to repair the wall. And then this another part in the balcony, there's a crack in the arc, and they try to repair, and it's doing well. This is another sampling from the same period of a building from the late 19th century. It's we can find that in the left side the composition is still about dominated by calcium and what you call calcium carbonate, and then some parts still have cement, and the left and the right side we have the wall that have same composition with the column. Now we also try to test the old brick and the new brick. There's a difference about the weight and the composition and the what you call firing thermal is different than from old and new. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the interesting presentation on Gereja Belenduk brick construction conservation. As the building itself is located in a coastal town, it is by the sea, Semarang, so it has high humidity that can threaten the construction. Are there any questions for the presentation by this group? Mas Krisna, ininya screen share-nya mungkin bisa di.
Oh ya.
Terima kasih. Any question for the presentation for this group? If there are no questions, that we could proceed perhaps with the next group, group 6, on conservation of painting, puppet, and textile.
Yes. Maybe share the presentation.
Before the presentation, I would like to give a quick announcement.
Mbak Mirna and Mas Erwin, I have one announcement for all participants before you start your presentation. Yes, would you please to open the chat box for all participants, and you will find the questionnaire, the link for questionnaire. So would you please to open this link and you fill this questionnaire. This is for the evaluation of this course. This is very important for us for the feedback to improve our program for the next year, next program. So please to open the chat and fill the questionnaire. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih, Pak Nahar. Yes, so other participants, perhaps you could fill the questionnaire also while Pak Erwin can continue the presentation for the group.
Okay, actually, you hear my voice?
Yes, I can.
Okay, actually we are from the group 6 and we would like to present different material like Mbak Sundari and Andri Preti will present about puppets, and Mas Sen will present about textile, especially for batik. And I just want to focus on painting, and in this case I don't want to present about conservation, just preliminary identification, because I'm like experience to preservation conservation of the painting. So this presentation just primary identification and the diagnostic of painting condition with the non-destructive multi-analytical approach. And let's start it. Actually, conservation and restoration painting already know that we divide mostly for group is group is a surface and dirt removal, is to remove the dust on dirt on the painting, and we have also after that we can remove the varnish on the layer of the painting, and the third one is a structural treatment. If we have any problem with the painting, in here you can see the pictures, we can put some inlay fabric or another material that not destroy the canvas. And the last one, of course, retouching is put some pigment or match original paint exactly in the painting that we have analyzed before. But one of the important things before we do some conservation in painting is the primary identification. It's important to know what is the information we can get from the painting. So I have like a little experience when I did some identification of painting in the Pietrocanonica Museum, Rome, Italy, which is one of small museum in Villa Borghese in Italy, and is a portrait about La Signora Luisa Canonica. It's oil-based painting on canvas, fixed on the wooden frame. It is one of the great painting in the Villa Borghese in Canonica Museum. So it's very important and also painting in that museum. So one of the first things which we did to identify the painting is we use analytical technique, which is non-destructive or non-invasive technique to visible light, in order to obtain important information about the conservative status of the artwork that has been done before, if they have any conservation before or no, and information any underlying paintings are also possible to detect. In here, in the right set in the presentation, we can see the signatures of the painters, and in the left side in the detail too, you can see after we did some analysis, we can see there it has any another figures behind this painting. So it's really important. If we did this analysis, we can see some information behind the painting. I mean, behind these people in the painting. And here we can see some picture. Then maybe we can identify is Madonna. If not mistake, Madonna is like in Indonesia we call Bunda Maria, or mother of Holy Mother of Maria, but we still just identify. And the second analytical technique we use is a UV light. This we can use to specify the layer at works, and we can see also the make difference between the organic materials and chemical composition under the painting. In here we can see the left set application of the UV light, and the right set the result of the application of the UV light. And infrared reflexography is really one of the good technique also because non-destructive, and it will be provide information about the inner layers of the painting, and it's very useful when looking for preparatory drawings. So we can see how the painters prepare this drawing and pentimenti, and also underlying of the painting. And this is the last one is Fad Xrf, one of the great analytical technique. Then I do love this analytical technique because very easy to use, is portable, and we can use analysis for the painting, and very fast we can find any information about special for elemental composition, and we can get qualitative and quantitative analysis each part of the painting in order to know what is the chemical composition of this painting. And this also we can know some information like this painting originally or no, and where they take this color or pigment, because in Europe they have database. We know that this from 17th century, 16th century, so we know all of the information from the painting from this analytical technique. So just because we have not much time, and our group will present 3 different materials, so it's different, just general information about preliminary identification. So based on the information we shared before, that non-invasive techniques allow us to go further inside the painting in order to know more detail about the previous painting on the campus, as well as more detail about the portrait, especially of portrait oleh Signora Luisa Canonica. It's really important before we did, maybe if you have any problem, before we do some conservation or intervention to this painting. And of course our project also still have any so we hope that a suggestion is better to make complete this identification. We can use radiography technique that we can see more the deep information about the painting, like pigment, and also the composition of the varnish they use. So I hope, because I'm from Indonesia, and I hope maybe in the future from this participant, maybe in the future we can do some analytical technique or a research project in the painting, because as we know some important painter in this like Avandi and another painter, so we can do some research in this project. Just it. Thank you so much for this time. And next we will present, my friends will present about puppet or wayang. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next. Yes.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm Andri Pratiwi. I'm from Cultural Heritage Preservation Office of Central Java Province. So I will summarize my presentation so it can end quickly. So my theme is wayang kulit conservation using garlic. This is a very simple conservation actually. Maybe many of you ever heard what is wayang kulit is, and in Indonesia we have wayang kulit theater that will held by a team that led by a dalang or a puppeteer narrator. And my office actually got a request from Banyumas district to conserve their wayang kulit collection in 2019 at the Banyumas Wayang Museum. And in several stages, one of the ingredients that used for the conservation is garlic. So why we get ideas to use this garlic? Our conservator received information from a source who is a dalang or puppeteer narrator that he always used garlic to care of for his puppet collection. So this is a tradition that has been preserved from generation to generation. If you can see from the picture, fungal growth on the puppet body with the white color like this. And this is the collection at Banyumas Wayang Museum. And then the procedure to use garlic is very simple. The first step is the garlic is cut into 2 parts and then wrap the juicy slice to the puppet without pressure. So it must be gentle enough to keep the dry coat from rubbing off the garlic. And the third step is drying the puppet in shady place. And the most important part is ironing them. And the last one, wait for 24 hours or until the surface of the puppet skin is no longer sticky. So this is a very simple conservation actually. And then the practice of using garlic in Java is to lighten the color of the wayang kulit, but that is more accurate is to remove the fungus in the puppets. So in my office, this is the first time we use garlic as a conservation material from of wayang kulit. Basically, the use of garlic is based on the habits of some Central Java people who use garlic for the treatment of skin when they exposed to fungi. And from information that I get from various journals that I read, garlic or Allium sativum, one of the main bioactive component of garlic is allicin, which is allicin is a potential antioxidant and has been shown to inhibit the growth of fungi. But we need further research related to the use of garlic for wayang kulit conservation because there is this is a very limited research on our office. So this will be our great homework for us. I think it's enough for me. You can go to the next presentation from Mr. Sena about the textile conservation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
The next presentation on textile with Mr. Sana. The floor is yours.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes, up. Yes. Yes.
Clearly? Okay. Thank you for this opportunity to join Biochemco International Forum. I'm honored to be able to make a presentation on batik. Let me introduce myself. My name is Enok Kartino. I'm a history teacher at SMA 72 Jakarta Utara. My qualification is S1 History Education, and also I'm the ambassador of the Museum of Jakarta with Ami Paramita Jaya. For a second. For a second. The preface, most of the batiks we work on in poor condition due to age, protected display, the humid climate, Jakarta pollution, and many years of indoors and sunlight exposure. We are extremely adhesive, which cause them to become brittle and discolor yellow and brown. Since none of the batiks had been protected with glass, all were fade. Sadly, light damage is cumulative and cannot be reserved. The color cannot be brought back. This one is talk batik conservation with Julia M. Brennan. Julia M. Brennan is a conservator from USA, Washington DC, and I'm honored to be able as an MC and a moderator in this talk series. Batik Iwantirta collection, the unfolded back of the monumental Great Seal Parang made by Iwantirta in 1986 for the embassy. He superimposed the emblem of the USA on the recognizable royal sultanate. The step one we use for batik treatment of Iwantirta batik was a multi-stage process. First, we remove the batik from the old wooden stresses, which mean extracting of my who remove the batik from the old wooden stresses, include tacks, nails, staples, and glue. The step two, when we have a good record of each batik condition, often the batik had a vacuum through the protective mesh screening. We use nylon windows to screening it. Where there were tears and holes in batik, we loosely trace them between layers and tool netting for temporary protection during the cleaning. So we use a layer to see what next or what hole that marks in batik itself. The step three is a wet conditioning. Where participants cook up, crush, and strain local fresh ware, then use the mixture of clean several of the batiks. So we use ware is a traditional ingredient for batiks to make conservation of batik itself. To our delight, the homemade lerak surface work just as well as the important surfacians or fuzz, but remove tremendous amounts of dirt and excessive discoloring. As well, some of the stain, but did not affect on the dyes. Step three, once the batik were clean and dry, our challenge was to repair the tear and hole. As a group, we discussed the idea of using adhesive technique. However, after closely examining the cultural damage caused by adhesive treatment done for more than 20 years on the Museum Textile Jakarta collection, we decided to stay with dried and through careful hand stitching technique. So we use hand stitching technique to conservation batik itself, to make the full batik itself like a new. The finishing step to conclude our work together, we roll the newly conserved batik collection on acid-free tubes and place them in temperature control storage, where they will remain until the batik are reframed for a new display in the new American Embassy. Thank you for today. I think that's enough. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for the presentation. For participants who do not know, Lorak is the soap, very natural soap that you could see was used during the metal conservation lab practice on Friday. And also thank you with the presentation of the group 6. Any question for the presentation for this group?
I think there are one questions from wait a moment about.
Oh yes, I could see here in the chat.
Xrf, isn't it?
Yes.
It's about deterioration. Yeah, because the in here, just answer directly. Well, deterioration by using the XRF, I'm not sure that I can say that we can identify deterioration clearly, but some pigment, some chemical composition which represents of the pigment, maybe they have deterioration, but mostly XRF we can use to identify the chemical composition, especially for heavy elemental.
We cannot hear you, Mas Erwin.
Heavy element. Of course, we should combine some analytical technique in order to know deterioration, or else we couldn't see clearly the deterioration. Yeah, thank you.
I think there is also another question for Mas Erwin here in the chat box regarding the. Wait. Oh.
Still have one presentation from groups.
I think we are losing Mas Erwin.
Can I present my presentation right now? Or I have to wait Mas Erwin reply the question?
Mas Erwin, can you hear us? Mr. Erwin?
Yes.
We cannot hear. Mbak Sundari is going to share something about the Wayang Orang preservation to help you, because we seem to be losing you. Okay.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Today I will presentation about the about the conservation of leather puppet. Gelatin nanoparticle of GNP as adhesive and coating agent for the heritage object of leather puppet. Based on the Encyclopédie mondiale des arts et de la marionnette by l'Union Internationale de la Marionnette, or UNIMA, Indonesia has a lot of kind of puppet, and most of them made from wood, like wayang golek, wayang klitik, and pen rollers, like wayang beber, and leather, like wayang kulit. One of the problems with the leather puppet's cultural heritage object is the peeling of the paint on the surface of the puppet that occurs in the leather puppet that is more than 1 century old and using natural dye. This is the peeling of the paint, you can see. And as the comparison, this is the leather puppet. You can see leather puppet made around 1970 and used a mixture of natural and synthetic dyes. And we can see that there has been no paint peeling on the puppet. Well, conservation of cultural heritage object of leather puppet has the peel of the peel, that peel of their color can be carried out by redying the puppet or adding the coating agent on the puppet that almost peel off to stick to the surface in the puppet. Next is the formula of the dye and coating agent on leather puppet. Traditional natural dye formula consists of charcoal, cold water, calcium dihydroxide, ancur lempeng, and water. Meanwhile, the traditional coating agents are used such as ancur matang and egg white. Albumin is mentioned when we use the egg white. Then, to improve the surface of leather puppet, natural dye and coating agent are expected to seep into the skin on the leather puppets. So the formulation of dyes and coating using nanotechnology need to study further. So for the next research, we propose a research of GNP as adhesive in the natural dye formula and gelatin gel for the control egg white albumin release. The first is GNP as adhesive in the natural dye formula. The formula of natural dye is consist of natural dye and the GNP. To get the natural dye nanosize, we can make a collaboration with INDI, or Indonesian Natural Dye Institute group research from LPPT University of Gajah Mada, who produce the nanosite natural dye for plastic, fabric, and leather. And for the adhesive, we can use the gelatin of fish and pig, and we can mix them, and we can get the optimum formula by using simplex lattice design method. The procedure of making natural dye formula is start by mixing the GNP and nanosite natural dye. Then the formula will be tested using SDS-PAGE to know the molecular weight of protein. Then the size of nanoparticle were analyzed by the DLS and the morphological characterization by SEM and the viscosity by viscosity meter, adhesiveness by the adhesion test and the spreadability by spread test. Next, for the synthesis of the fish and beef gelatin nanoparticle procedure, I propose to use the modified two-step disolvation technique. You can see the step, it starts by the fish gelatin or beef gelatin dissolved in the distilled water, add the something, the acetone, the suitable pH, the cross-linker, we use the crutaldehyde, then we can make the fish gelatin nanoparticle. The second is polysaccharide coating of gelatin gel for control egg white albumin release. It has been mentioned that the natural coating used traditionally are ancur matang and egg white. So for the coating on the surface of the leather puppet, GNP that used in the dye formula can be applied to the leather puppet surface directly, or we can innovate egg white by synthesizing polysaccharide coating of gelatin gel for control egg white albumin release. The procedure of synthesis of polysaccharide coating of gelatin for control albumin release is start by coating of gelatin layer by layer by using alginate and chitosan multi-layer. Then we can use them for morphological and characterization. Then the chemical characterization, we can use the HCR, FCER, and Raman spectra. And for the drug release experiment, that means the albumin release, we can monitor by using UV spectrophotometer. And then the product will be tested also by using the viscosity meter, adhesion test, and spread test. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much for the presentation. This concludes the Indonesian participant group. And then we shall, are there any questions for the presentation on using the natural gelatin for preservation on wayang? If not, then we can continue with presentation from participant. Miss Sim Jinwi. Sim Junwi, sorry.
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Hello?
Hello, yes. Can you hear us?
Yes,
Yes.
because yes. So actually, we have a presentation. Is actually by Annie, me, and Buni. Unfortunately, Buni, she's assigned to another workshop today. So the presentation will be just by me and Annie, which is here with me. So we would like to share our presentation now. Okay, so we would like to talk about the possibility of herbs and spices in the protection of paper and textile. So just before we start, we would like to do a very quick introduction about our site. We are at Malaysia, which is between Thailand and Indonesia. So we are in the island called Penang, which is here, a small part over here, the Penang Island. So a brief background about the Penang Island. So we are at the western end of the Straits of Malacca. So the red spot over here is Georgetown, which is where the main administrative, cultural, and political center for the state of Penang. Our history is we have a historical seaway that plays a crucial role in the regional and global trade for at least a millennium. So in 2018, Georgetown and Malacca are both inscribed as World Heritage Site. For the World Heritage Site of Georgetown, we have a core and buffer zone, and we have around 5,013 number of building and sites in the place. And then we are inscribed based on 3 criteria of the outstanding universal value. So one of it is both of the site has exceptional example of multicultural trading town that is forged from the trade and exchange of Malay, Chinese, and Indian cultures, and also, of course, 3 successive European colonial powers for almost 500 years. For Georgetown is mainly the British colonial administrative, which is different from Malacca, which has Portuguese and Dutch influence, slightly different. And another criteria is that we are a living testimony to multicultural heritage and traditions of Asia and European influences. So this multicultural tangible and intangible heritage is expressed apart from the tangible heritage of buildings, and also the intangible part through celebrations, languages, events, and arts and culture. And lastly, which is our architecture and townscape, which is we have a range of shophouses and townhouse and show different types and stages of development of building type from various influenced. So this is a very brief introduction about our site. So our office, the Georgetown World Heritage Incorporated, we are actually a state-appointed site manager for the World Heritage Site of Georgetown. And so part of our, so we have a lot of different fields. So one of it is that we will organize paper conservation workshops for community members. So here I will pass the presentation to my colleague Annie, who is our conservation studio coordinator.
Okay, so the first workshop organized in year 2017. This is a sharing workshop we organized in order to sharing with the community regarding the importance of the conservations and preservation of cultural heritage object. So the community, usually the community brought over their own collections, and we work together to identify the damage and together to conserve and to preserve, how to preserve. Yeah, the workshop conduct in 3 different languages in Bahasa Malaysia, English, and Mandarin. basically the workshop is FOC based on the first come, first serve. Okay, yeah, in Georgetown is high temperatures and humidity all over the year can easily lead to the mold growth, insect attack. Then due to the proximity of the water, in the climate is quite humid. The temperature range from 27 degrees to 34 degrees Celsius average throughout the year. Due to the hot and high humidity, that's very hard to preserve the artifacts. So this is a few damage usually found in the temple, association, and clan house in Georgetown. So it's a tear, the acidity and fall. And this is damaged by the iron going. So what you can see, the iron going is acidic, will destroy the cellulose of the paper. And the next is the mold. The high temperatures and humidity cause mold growth on the surface of paper. And this one is the damage from the PEX silverfish. So silverfish generally eat the solution-based materials, supper paper. So especially they like to feed on the glue and starch. And they also prefer damp, humid, or the damp conditions.
So, this Annie has just shared with us some of the common issues that community members have shared with us about their documents or paper conservation. So then, because of this workshop, we are actually inspired, and we did explore a bit about the possibility of herbs and spices in the conservation of paper. So locally, one of the most commonly used herbs is the screw pine leaves or pandan. It's usually used to in every household because it's very commonly available. So we usually will leave it in drawers, cardboard, and it's believed to help to defer cockroaches. And then also there are also practices of using spices such as clove, cinnamon, and pepper to prevent pests. So there is actually a local cloth distributor, because I once bought silk from him, and he actually told me to use clove and cinnamon to put in an organza bag with the silk to help to prevent silverfish from eating the silk. So there are actually some people who practices that, but because we are a multicultural community, so there are different combinations or methods that are used by different communities for the pest repellent. So there are actually a lot of spices, herbs, and minerals that has similar pest prevention properties, such as frankincense, and also, like discussed previously, is cloves. However, later we would like to share and discuss about two herbs that has been used historically and traditionally as pest repellent in paper conservation. And these two herbs and spices is easily available locally from our traditional Chinese medical hall. They can be also purchased through online platforms. So one of it is what we call Huang Po, which is the there's a lot of different names on it, and is a yellow dye containing alkaloid berberine. It's used extensively in Central Asia, China, and Japan. And it's been known in Asian China to have insect repelling properties, and it's used to dye paper to prolong their preservation. So I have also found out that there are people who use this to dye cloths as well in Korea. And recent contemporary research also found that the herb did exhibit properties that can prevent pest attack. And another one is the Sichuan pepper. So the Sichuan pepper has a strong smell and numbing anesthetic effects and alkaloids, which could help to defer the pests. So actually from what from a quick research, we found that during Song Dynasty in Fujian province, there is a district that used to produce a type of paper that is treated with citron pepper solution, which is believed to help to repel pests. And there are actually recent studies for the citron pepper to be used as organic pest control. Yeah. And so for paper conservation, I actually learned about this from a paper conservator from Taiwan. He's a consultant for the Taipei City Archives. So one of the way is he actually recommend to boil the herb on spice to produce a solution. Then we can either dye the paper in the solution, and the paper, after it's dry, it can be used to wrap a textile or the document that you would like to conserve. So that would help to protect it acts as a protective layer for the documents from the pests. Or there is another way is to mix the solution with wheat starch to produce a type of glue for the backing of fragile artworks or documents or paper. So yeah, because the herb itself is an organic matter, so if we use it on its own, it might attract pests on its long term. So, and for like Indonesia, you extract it as essential oil, but we do not necessarily have the equipment to extract it. So one of the other way that we exploit is using like boiling it. So in the picture, you can see there are 3 different bowls. The yellow one is made from the amarcord wood, is the glue made from the amarcord, so you can see here. And the pinkish one is actually from citron pepper. And then when I went to learn about this, the color looks bright, but when we apply it to back the document, is actually very faint, so it won't actually affect the document. Yeah, it won't actually affect the document. Yeah, so so we also think of other possibilities that may be explored, because from the workshop and sharing from the speakers and participants, so we probably would like to think about the possibilities of local herbs such as cloves, and also the screw pine leaves that was mentioned earlier, and also chilies, mace. And there's also something we call 5 spices, which is a mixture of various spices that is available locally. They usually use it for cooking, but I don't know, it's something that we may think about, that is it possible that these spices have the users to help for the conservation of paper, to repel, to prevent the pests. Yeah, so basically is that. So that is the end of our presentation. So if you have any question, please share with us. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, because we have time constraint. If you have any question for the presentation of Miss Annie and Miss Sim Junhui, you could probably type in the chat box here, and so they could check and reply it immediately. Type, and then so we can continue with the next presentation by Miss Erin Brady. Is Miss Erin ready? Is Miss Erin Brady ready? Because there's a limited time for the presentation today. Okay, I think Miss Erin is not present today. Apparently so. Perhaps we could continue with Miss Gwyn Jenkins' presentation.
Yep, certainly. Oops. Good morning. I'm on full screen, yeah. Okay, I'd just like to say thank you for GGWHI for setting the scene as to where we are in Malaysia. We are just here, and we are in the middle of a very important trade route between China and India. I'm an independent consultant, and I work in heritage architecture and cultural anthropology. So I work mainly in Georgetown. So when I'm repairing and restoring a building, I want to know the influences that have actually led to the way that these buildings have been built. And although it was part of the East India Company and then it became a crown colony to the British, the people that built it were from different parts of this region. So they bring with them their own skills and everything. And there's some similarities. The most striking similarity was the use of something called lime. And this is not limau. This is the lime that you eat with your betel nut, or you wash the color of your houses with, etc. So from Calcutta, the fine houses of Calcutta, the buildings in Madras, even the Portuguese buildings of Macau, and this is of Hong Kong, this whole region was using the lime. And the lime comes from limestone, or it comes from coral, or it comes from seashells. And probably in the beginning, that's just what was used. The lime is burnt so that it sends off carbon dioxide. And then it's a very lightweight material that gets put into water. Once it's in water, it starts to bubble like crazy. And then a few months later, it will be nice and solid like this. And so this is what we use in our buildings. It's called lime putty. So we're using lime putty as a mortar mixed with sand in our walls. We also use it as a protection for the walls with a finer sand usually, and we use it as a lime wash. And this is a blue which we tend to use in our kitchens because it's supposed to be deters mosquitoes. That is the sort of local story that I was told by the guys that come and work on the buildings with me. Yes, we definitely had the rising damp, as in the church we saw earlier. And we have salts which build up in these walls as well. So the best thing to do is to take off this lime every now and again, every few years, and you redo that area. This is just at the stage when we had a lot of work to do, so we took it all off. We also make sure that the base, the floor, is also very breathable, which is, this is a breathable material. The floor is lime concrete, and then the tiles which are breathable are set in a lime mortar. So these are all the different ways of using lime putty around the region. But they have different things in them, and this is when it starts to get interesting. This is what I was saying earlier, that we had pepper, which was growing in Penang, and the price of pepper in Canton was higher than that in London, because the pepper dust is mixed in with the plaster and used as the last coat inside rooms in order to diffuse an agreeable odor. And they don't paint them. And the whole pepper was used in the mortar. Now, so far, I've not found a client in my conservation work that wants to try this, but I think it would be lovely to find a project one day that we can actually try this pepper. So I went up to visit different conservators in this region to try and understand a bit more. This is our wonderful conservator of this Cantonese temple in Macau. And she is going to show me how they prepare the lime. They actually don't get the lime slaked. When you put the limestone into the water, it's called slaking. They don't get it done in Macau because that's not permitted. They have to do it in China and ship it back. When it comes back, they mix it with rice straw. And this is their principal ingredient that's extra to the water and the lime. And when you get this lovely sort of straw-colored lime sitting in the pot here, it sits underwater so it doesn't start to react and go hard. And then it's mixed with very, very clean sand. And then you can see the straw pieces already in it. Now, we don't have this rice straw in our building so far that I've looked at in Malaysia. So that's one of the things we didn't bring back. But the slaking of the lime, for sure, that's what we do. Then there's India, our Indian influence. This is where we're looking at molasses, goodness me, and the fine powdery brick dust. Well, that is more logical, but the molasses really surprised me. So we have to I then started to investigate with my friends elsewhere in India, another conservation group, to see did they still use molasses? And yes, they do. It's even used in modern buildings, particularly the flat roofs. So this is up north of Calcutta in a project run by the Danish Museum, because Serampore used to be a Danish settlement. This is a gatehouse by the river. So they've had terrible rising damp. They've taken off all the plaster. They have taken out the mortar from the joints. They have redone it. On their site, they will have an area for slaking the lime next to an area where they put their brick dust and lime mix. And then in it, they have all sorts of magic ingredients. They did actually let me know what they were eventually, but it took them some time to share their secrets. Here we have just the lime and sand mix. So it's quite different to the color of when it's mixed up with the brick dust. And this is our master mason here, and these are the conservation architects on the site. This is what his site looks like. This is the wonderful big pile of brick dust. He has fine sand, and these tanks are where he keeps the mixture of lime, slaked lime, and the mix of the brick dust and lime ready for building. As you see, they're all kept in the shade as well. His famous work, is punning. Punning is used on the inside of these buildings and for decorative elements on the outside. It's a mixture either of fine sand and lime putty, or fine sand, or marble dust instead of the sand, and egg white beaten to a froth. And then it's rubbed gently in with a very, very smooth trowel until you get these very, very sharp lines. And you can see the normal lime plaster, and you can see the egg dust, egg white and marble dust plaster here. This is a guy doing his lime washing. Oops. Sorry, too fast. So he's hanging on to virtually nothing there while he's doing his lime wash. Now, the yellow was an interesting color. Where did it come from? Originally, I heard that it was the urine of cows that were fed on mango leaves, but that practice was stopped, and then another source had to be found. So that was, I haven't even tried that one, and I wouldn't do either because it's disrespectful to the cows. But they do use the rice in another way, not in the plaster itself, but as the brush. So this is the rice straw stalks used for the brush. This is back in Penang, where we tend to have a commercial pigment, and we're trying to get the yellow again. We looked at using yellow ochre, which is ferrous oxide, and we looked at something called ferrous sulfate, which was actually advised by some of our visiting experts from Australia, because that's what they used. And it's an interesting one because it starts off as a very dirty green. As you see, it's a sort of blue-green crystal. Oops, sorry. And when you put it on, you get a very dirty color, and then it slowly dries to a lovely yellow. Okay. But in the end, they decided to actually paint it white. Okay, one of the other uses for lime and its special admixture is for terracing. This is a flat roof. A flat roof, my computer's alive. I don't know what it's doing today. Okay, a flat roof that that is terraced between different terracotta tiles and a lime mortar in between. And I wanted to replicate this. This particular terrace was falling apart. The timbers were in terrible state. Everything was cracked. So we took it apart and learnt as we took it apart to find out what was going on. We realized that you put your mortar directly on top of your beams, then you put your tiles on top of that, and then there's a sandwich of the mortar. And surprisingly, this was not a pink mortar, which suggested therefore it was a Chinese one because it didn't have the brick dust in it. When we did this one, the owner was a little nervous, and because it's exposed to the outside, they insisted that we put in a damp-proof course, but we did everything else the same, and it's all very breathable, so the timbers should not get wet. So we actually put a damp-proof membrane, sorry. Okay, so these are the special ingredients. this is why when I was in Calcutta again, this is on the left-hand side is the brick bats, which are the larger pieces, and the dust is called surki. We also mix again with very fine sand, and then we use the lime putty. And this time jaggery sugar. Jaggery sugar is a palm sugar, and it's boiled to the molasses. So this is where the molasses comes in, and then it is fermented for about 7 days. So it all feels like a cooking process when they prepare the ingredients, but the molasses is meant to provide the waterproofing, and it keeps, it allows the lime to penetrate through into the brickwork and everything. So it's, and in their mix, they don't mix at this stage for the waterproofing, they don't mix much sand, it's mostly brick dust. Then there are other things as well, and you find them in the building regulations, the building codes, that they tell you what to actually mix to make your waterproof areas, particularly in what they call lime concrete. And this one is, we have bale fruit, which is Bengal quince. I had to buy it from Thailand. We used to grow it in Malaysia, but I actually found it now in Thailand. And then you boil that up with jaggery sugar. And jaggery is from the Palmyra palm. If you're not careful, you can buy jaggery in the local spice shops, but it ends up being from the sugar cane instead of from the palm itself. And you have an option. You can either use the bale fruit and jaggery together, or you can use the kaduka nut. Now, I was in a shop asking and buying the jaggery, and the man said, why do I want to buy so much jaggery? And I said, to do a flat roof. I want to make it waterproof. And he went, no, you need kaduka nuts. And I didn't realize they were for sale, but there they were. So then I bought some, and I haven't yet tested that out. And again, this is just me experimenting in my kitchen, reading things from history, talking to people, and reading and discussing things with conservators who are still using these products. Okay, so what we did actually for a roof here was to use the jaggery and lime water, because in fact it says on this one that you oh yeah, the very top comment, it says you sprinkle liberally with lime water and one of the options. So what we did with our lime concrete is we laid it, we pounded it with our own feet, then we pounded it regularly with a heavy weight of timber and sprinkled it and sprayed it with lime water and with jaggery water, because we knew that one of our, we have a Fort Cornwallis, which has, the documents for Fort Cornwallis are in the British Library, and they talk about using jaggery sugar. Gallons and gallons and gallons of jaggery sugar was used in that building. So we felt safe that we could actually use it here. And it took about a week, 10 days before it became very hard and solid. And even when it was very hard, we were still pounding it, still walking on it, still compressing it, and still spraying it. And then eventually they put a liquid waterproof layer on it, again because of the lack of courage, I guess, and also it's expensive. The timber underneath rots, then it's have to do it all again. So fair enough. Until we really get to practice with these things, it's better to have another safety net somewhere. But this is the real way. These are ladies who are banging in the mixture of bale fruit and jaggery, the molasses, with these things called tapis. And they sit there all day, just tap, 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 tap on the lime concrete roof. And slowly it seeps in and disappears. You actually don't see it. This is a completely on its own terrace, but you often get this material, this lime concrete, on modern construction. So you'd have a reinforced concrete flat roof, but for insulation and for waterproof finish, they will actually do this as well. So we have a kitchen full of things which we use in our buildings, and I'm sure they're used all over this area, and I'd really love to network and find out more and find out other things which are happening locally. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Quinn Jenkins, for the very interesting presentation. And as we are running short in time, if you have any question for Ms. Jenkins, you can type in the chat box, and we can continue with the next presentation from Ms. Nur Jawahir.
All right, okay, hello. So I want to share my screen first. Right, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good day for all participants, Biochemco 20. So today I want to present to you about total rust dissolve is more towards metal conservation using natural product. All right, so before I continue my presentation, I want to introduce myself. So my name is Nur Jawahir binti Radwan, and I head of preventive unit in division of conservation management in Department of Museum Malaysia. And we are currently cooperating with a Malaysian nuclear agency for preservation artifact using nuclear techniques. And also I am one of a research team in environmental condition control such as relative humidity, temperature and dust particle for repository labs and also museums under Department of Museum Malaysia. And also this is my education background. I'm graduate Bachelor of Social Science in majoring in anthropology and sociology and minoring in political science in University of Malaysia, Science Malaysia, and also Master of Social Science in Anthropology and Sociology as well in University Kebangsaan Malaysia. And I also want to introduce to all of you, to the participants, about Department of Museum Malaysia. It's located at Kuala Lumpur, and the Department of Museum Malaysia basically is responsible for preserving, conserving, and disseminating knowledge about the country's historical, culture, and natural heritage. And our core service is more towards collection, conservation, research, and exhibition. And actually, there are 22 museums under the administration of Department of Museum Malaysia. One of the museum is National Museum Malaysia and located also in Kuala Lumpur. And if you want to know more about Department of Museum Malaysia, so you can go to this website, http://gmm.gov.my. Right? So I want to move on to my presentation today. So for the metal conservation, we know that most of the metal artifact can be affected by corrosion. Okay, so corrosion is one of agent of degradation for metal artifact. And so commonly in Department of Museum Malaysia, we use commercial rust remover such as citric, thiourea, rust removal, and also WD-40, okay, as a rust remover. And we also know previously we have laboratory practice, okay, from Indonesian participant as well, about the saltberry, tamarind, coconut, lime, and also pineapple. We use this natural product as a rust remover. So now I want to share with you about one of this natural product, okay, pineapple, or also we call as ananas commosus, is also have highly potential to be one of alternative method to be rust removal on metal. All right, so why we need to use this natural product? Because first thing is most of artifact that we found is during excavation on archaeology sites are in the form of rusty metal. Okay, so conservation would need to do. And secondly, is cost for commercial product are really expensive, limited, and time consuming. Because of this product is imported from other countries, such as we use furniture cladding or also university product. And the negative impact to this artifact is the usage of chemicals such as thiourea and citric acid are complicated and bad for our health. And the preparation of this chemical should be prepared in the laboratory and handled by trained staff. So for your information, most of our staff have a historical, like anthropology and sociology background, and only few of them have a chemist background. So this is our problem, right? Okay, so I want to show you the process how we do we use natural product pineapple for metal conservation. So first thing first, we need to have 400 milliliter distilled water, and then 300 pineapple, and next is rusty metal screw. Okay, so what we need to do, we just combine, okay, 400 distilled water with 300 gram pineapple, and then we blend it on medium speed. And after that, we drain the grated pineapple to get pineapple extract or pineapple water only. Okay, so next we measure the weight of the rusty screws, and we soak the rusty screw in pineapple water for 1 hour. And then we dry the screw by using filter paper before put it inside glass jar. And we left the screw to dry inside glass jar, and we put silica gel packet inside glass jar to speed up the drying process for a day. And the next day, we measure the screw weight to find out the total weight of rust loss. So this technique is commonly, everyone have actually do it. So in this research, we want to know how many gram that, how many total rust loss, okay, in the metal. All right, so as a result, so you can see here, if we soak it for 1 hour, so the weight before is 11.11 gram, and then weight after we soak it, and then we measure the weight, we get 10.69, and total rust loss is 0.15. And if we soak it for 2 hours, and then for another experiment for 3 hours, you can see the total rust loss is actually increasing 0.5 for each hours we soak it. All right, so the data shown that total lost rust is directly proportional, in which for additional 1 hour, the total lost rust increased for 0.5 gram. Okay, all right, so for conclusion, you can say that the natural product pineapple can dissolve rust from metal, and it increased immersion time will increase the rate process of rust solubility from substrate. Right, so that's all for me. All right, thank you and terima kasih.
Thank
If you
you
have
very
any
much.
question, you can email me. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Noor. Very interesting research result. We can continue with the next presentation by Mr. Jan Emmanuel Guzman.
Yes, ma'am. Can you see my slides, ma'am? Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, my presentation for today is about the summary of vegan heritage village conservation practices and the future of potential heritage spots of the town of the province of Tarlac, Philippines. So I will proceed to my slides quickly, so we will have the time for question and answer, hopefully. This is the vegan heritage town of Ilocos Sur here in the Philippines, Region 1. And the vegan is it's a whole old Spanish town located at the Ilocos Sur. And it is now a UNESCO heritage site, which is quite good for the Philippines. For the summary of the vegan conservation practices, the top 5 vegan cultural practices that are being made there is 1, the culture mapping project; 2, establishment of an ancestral homeowners association; 3, school for traditional beating crafts; 4, intangible heritage and cultural awareness; and 5, promotion of sustainable development and use of local resources. Then, Vegan City has its grassroots program, which made their made all of their citizens as the primary stakeholders for preserving their town. They taught their own individual citizens how to keep it clean and neat, their homes of heritage roots. And also the participative governance is also in play on that particular town. All of the people there has a say on the regulations and rules promulgated by the local government there. So the next slide I will share some of their cleaning methods for the ground floor tiles. They clean regularly their ground floor tiles with a damp rag, mop, or sponge with light scrubbing. It is recommended every day for regular use. And also the cucumber tree, or we call the yas or kamyas in the Philippines. They also use those for their metalworks, especially for their windows, which has the old metalworks in there, the iron grills in there, way back 50 years ago. The ratio for there is a 100 for every 100 grams of kamyas fruits. There is a corresponding 1 liter of water to mix with it. Just grind the cucumber or the kamyas fruit and mix the water and stir it for about a minute, and it is now ready to remove rust or even clean stains of our clothes. For the wall lime wash solution, the ratio for the lime and to the water is 1:7. Then place the lime and water to a drum and stir the mixture from time to time for about 7 hours. I think for every hour you must mix it in all about 3 minutes and allow the mixture to stand overnight. I think about 8 hours. Then remove the film at the surface of lime wash mixture because sometimes there is a thin film in the surface of that mixture. Then use the water solution only in washing masonry surfaces such as floors, tiles, or even your walls. So for my own town, which has a current protection heritage spots, I will discuss it today. The first one is the Borobudur house, which now I recognize important cultural site by the National Museum of the Philippines. Borobudur is our local hero, and he fought against the Spanish army during the 19th century. Recently, the local government unit just made this house a local shrine, and now it is now called the Borobudur Martinez Park, just shown here. I think it's just 3 months ago after being enshrined. Then the next one near it is what we call the Bayang Iniwan, or the abandoned town. It is called the Bayang Iniwan because it is the former location of the Tarlac, and due to waterlogging causes, the former town was abandoned by the people and sought higher ground. As you can see in the picture, it is just taken 2 days ago with the typhoon ravaging in our town. So as you can see here, the former town is waterlogged again. You can always see a lake full of waters. Then it is also waterlogged because it is always near the Chico River, which stretches from the province of Nueva Ecija, Tarlac, and Pampanga, I think. As of now, there's no formal studies that investigates the Bayang Iniwan as a cultural heritage. But according to my mayor, during our talk, he told me that he wants it to be investigated via the National Museum of the Philippines and other entities that can investigate it, which includes me as their representative. This is the third one, the old battleground. It is located at the Barangay Matayong, Lapas, Tarlac. It is the site of the skirmish of retreating Japanese soldiers against the pursuing Filipino soldiers and American soldiers. The old battleground also is the site where there is a bloody skirmish, and it is also believed that there were casualties left behind on this battleground. I do not know what the mayor and I talk about it, and both of us currently do not know where is the exact site of the battleground it is, but the major site is in the photograph. But we are also endorsing for a formal study on this old battleground to validate the story and to enlighten the story behind the old battleground. Lastly, is the Pulong Puke here in La Paz, Tarlac. As you can see, I took a photo of it. It is now converted to a farmland, and way behind there is somewhat a forest land. Pulong Puke, or a village of women's sexual part, is the site where it's hard to say where the Filipino comfort women were raped and killed by the Japanese Imperial forces during the World War II. And allegedly, there are skeletons that have been dug up there, but we do not know if it is belong to the Japanese Filipino comfort women or those of the Japanese soldiers. As of now, there were no known formal studies being conducted in the investigation of Pulong Puke. This story deserves a formal study for validation, proper recording, and recognition. And actually, in these 4 sites that I have been talking right now, I am the sole representative of my town on restoring these sites and investigating these sites. And this is my okay, wait. The vegan heritage village heritage practices are worth emulating, and it only shows that if the citizens are unified and you looking in the same direction, anything can be achieved with flying colors too. The future of the potential heritage spots in the town of La Paz, province of Tarlac, Philippines, will be a bright one, with constant increase in effort in educating the people about the importance of heritage, and with the close collaboration of the local government. As of now, the local government is making its move in order to preserve the above-mentioned spots. This is me just after lecturing the young people in my rural town about our local heritage and other subjects such as mathematics and civics. So that's all. Thank you very much for listening. And comments or suggestions, just email me there. I know that my email is such a strange one, but that's my legitimate email. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much for the very interesting presentation, Mr. Jan Emmanuel. We can continue then with the last presentation we are going to have for this session before we're going to have a break until about 1 o'clock of Western Indonesian time, or 6 UTC time. And the last participant for this session will be Dr. Chen Wu-wei.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm actually at the Shanghai area right now, and later I will have class afterwards. But it's a great timing, and very honored to present over here. First, I would like to address. Let me just take over the screen if you don't mind. Is it good for everyone?
Yes, we can see it.
All right. To be clear, I'm actually not from the material or traditional approach, to conserve the cultural objects or the heritage relics, but we have this very persistent interest in the digital conservation. For example, utilizing the digital technologies and also the optical technology, like what the earlier speakers addressed, to conduct the teaching and also the narrative or even the storytelling, okay, for the heritage tradition, also the heritage project. Right. So to begin with, I would like to very quickly go through the research path. So at the very beginning, we start from the earlier investigations towards the Gandhala Buddhist deities. So those are actually the collections from those Japanese private collectors in Hong Kong. So we propose and help to digitize those schist, material Buddhist sculptures, very close to the Gandhala styles at the earlier time. And those are belonging to the personal collections. We haven't set foot to those World Heritage site at that period. And also here you can see that this is actually the web platforms that we use to quickly provide the global audience to get access and also try to put annotations or even critiques, opinions onto those 3D objects. So this is quite universal right now, and we're still using it as a very helpful tool. All right, and this is actually the images of the VR view, virtual reality views, when you put on your goggle at home. So this is very accessible even when you open up the browser and also the images at your local workstations or terminal devices. All right. Afterwards, we also work on the aerial review, aerial survey. So we pretty much utilize the drone imagery. And this target is actually the Tiantan Buddha, the largest outdoor Buddha statues in the Hong Kong region. And we utilize the aerial drones to access the images and also convert it into 3D models for further surveys. So those are the earlier period for our explorations towards the digital technology along with the heritage objects. And afterwards, we have shifted the focus and more concentrated on the heritage sites in China. So the first sites we get access is actually at Sichuan. If you ever set foot in Dazu rock carvings in Sichuan province, western parts of China, so those are pretty familiar things to you. This is actually the hand drawings when we first applied for the World Heritage site listing back in the 90s, earlier that century. And also those are the caves and niches that we documented. And again, those are actually the interactive web preservations, web presentations, I'm sorry, for those caves. So for this one here, it's actually located at the Shimanshan Mountain. This is one of the very famous caves. It's actually with the peacock radiant Western King, right, inside the caves. And the caves is almost 200 centimeter high, and you can actually walk back and forth and to see the back of the halo, and also those narrative relief on either wall. So those are just one of many different caves and niches that we documented digitally at the rock carving sites in Sichuan. And the primary documentation method that we use is to go through the photogrammetry, okay, by using the DSLR camera. And further, we can further push on the laser scanning or even utilize the satellite images for it. And this is also another site which is at the Sichuan area, Dayun Grottos. And this is one of the trademark caves which we investigate, is also converted into point cloud, display. So over here you can see that this is actually the video documentations of the sites, and then down below is actually some of the screen captures of the point clouds display. So the advantage of point cloud is that you can quickly get access to those data, and then it would be easy to convert them into polygonal objects if you want to further send it to web or other platforms, interactive platforms for further research. So those are the sites, and also the Aldo Bodhisattva outside the Anyue area, also in Sichuan as well. So those are the main studies we have. And for the teachings, we also organize those, start a trip for the students. So one of the very famous sites, for those of you who might already know, the Dunhuang grottos, we actually led more than 20 students, and also along with 3 professors from interdisciplinary fields to quickly conduct those research trips. And this is actually the results of the students try to document all those mural paintings outside the caves, because those niches inside them, you are not allowed to bring any cameras or flashlights into it. So, but as for the mural paintings outside, they are still very remarkable. They're all from the Song Dynasty, so this would be good enough for students for their research practice and also future. All right, and for the Shanxi province, later we move on to the north parts of China. Those are the cave temples at Datong city. This is a very famous Yungang grottos, and I believe that many of you have the privilege to look into them. So here, actually, we took another approach by using the 360 VR, because those full-scale sites are way too gigantic. We cannot utilize the regular way to document it. So we utilize the VR view to look into those caves and then document it accordingly. All right, and if you go to the Shanxi province, of course, you cannot miss the Loman grottos. Here you might have a problem, a question like, why it is always the religious deity? And this is, what I also like to address. My personal research direction is towards the religious sites in Asia regions. So, first started, we start from the Gandala, and then afterwards move on to also in China and look into those cave temples, for example. But later we set foot in different geolocations of Asia. And of course, I want to spend some of the times to talk about our trip in Indonesia. So last summer, we actually have the privilege to look into all sorts of tangible heritage and also intangible heritage forms. Tangible sites, of course, Prambanan and also the Borobudur. Those are the sites we don't want to miss. But other than that, there are lovely surprises when we get the assistance from EC Suragara. Faculties are very welcoming, and also they are so supportive to show us all the different forms, including the wayang theaters, wayang golek, wayang kulit, wayang beber, students' work, professionals' performances during the middle of night, and also those very splendid collections, cluster after cluster of wayang kulit. So this is very exciting when I learn from the earlier conservation methods by using the garlic and also other intriguing ways like the local wisdom to preserve those heritage objects. And what we have in mind is to further investigate, and we are actually doing it right now. So this is actually a upcoming conference in our field, which is called CGRAPH. And it's originating from the States. It's underneath the ACM, and it's one of the biggest computer graphic events in the world. So each of the year they will pick up a major city for exhibition. This year, because it's during the critical time, so they shift the from the physical venue of Daegu in South Korea all the way to virtual. So I'm here to invite you guys to join us at the December 4th. We will have a 2-hour presentations, including 3 tiers of presenters. Myself talking about the heritage in Namsan of South Korea, and the other group talks about the interactive documentary towards the batik textures storytelling. And also the third one is towards the musician of folk music in China. So I believe those topics, even though they are not necessarily related to material conservations, but in terms of in the name of heritage storytelling, I sincerely invite you guys to join us. And at the middle of December, we will also have live presentations and also the Q&A session. Right. So this is pretty much what we are doing right now. Some of the cross-disciplinary collaboration, I'm here to quickly walk through them. For example, our New York campus actually have those privilege to connect with the Smithsonian and also Free Settler. So those are the joint workshops that we hosted for the graduate students, and also some of the area which is off the topic, which is called the time-based media art conservation. So you're actually looking at the IFA campus in New York. Besides the traditional conservations towards the material and also the paintings, like this students over here, she's actually trying to practice traditional way of mixing the Japanese adhesive. But other than that, they have a new area towards the digital artwork and also its conservation. So I believe that it will be intriguing enough for friends at the Java or other place in the archipelagos to participate. So hope this presentations is short and sweet. Again, my name is Chen Wei. If there's any questions you would like to ask, please don't hesitate to email me. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for the very interesting presentation. That will be the last presentation for session 1 today. We will continue with session 2 after a break. We will have a break of 1 hour and we will return at 1 p.m. Indonesia bagian Barat, Western Indonesian time, or 6 UTC time. I will return the session to the host, Mas Linus.
Okay, thank you. That's for the session 1, and we will continue at 1 o'clock at Western Indonesia time. So it's 1 hour again, and also the closing remark will be held today. So after 2 hours of presentation education, we will have a closing. Okay, thank you.